everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome back to 6,000 Games Better Than These. This is a series where I'm going through and I'm talking about games that are, ranked fairly low on Board Game Geek, but I still think there's some good games in this mix. So we're kind of just taking a look at them. So without further ado, we're going to just jump into 7,201. Now, since the last time I recorded this, the games have changed. There's always going to be some changing around, so you'll see some things here that might be things we've already talked about, or things, it's just what happens. So we have Templar, the Secret Treasure, and Power Rangers deck building game. Now, before we jump into these, there's a lot of historical games here that I'm not covering, and I saw someone last time was like, why don't you cover these? You should cover them, and blah, blah, blah. We just don't cover every war game that's out there. In fact, we cover very few of them. We found the majority of people aren't particularly interested in them, but if you are, well, have at it and talk about them. Templar, the Secret Treasures, is a game in which you're moving from Queen, moving around collecting treasures from rooms. It sounds way more interesting than it is. Power Rangers deck building game. Now, I am too old for the Power Rangers craze, so to me, Power Rangers, especially when I see cards like this, it always looks like a Voltron ripoff. But whatever, if you like Power Rangers, that's fine. But I still felt that this game wasn't particularly interesting. You kind of suited up and got armor together, but it was just okay as a deck building game. Moving on down here, we have Warband Against the Darkness. I talked about that last time, as well as Duck, Duck, Go. Here we have The Thing. There's a lot of games based on The Thing. This one's from 2010. I did not play this one, but I played The Thing Board Game Outpost. So I feel like this is a different style game from the self-published, web-published. Maybe this became it later on. I don't know. Empire Express, Zongshi, and Hunted Kobayashi Tower. Empire Express is an easy sort of introduction to the Empire builder thing. So you look at that board, and I know that I think Mr. B Games bought Mayfair Games, and they're going to be remaking this, and I keep begging them to please make it look a little nicer. You're drawing with crayons, usually markers, on such a map and drawing railroads all over the place, connecting and delivering goods. There's some interesting things. I actually like the game, but I just wish it looked nicer. Zongshi is a game from Eagle Griffin Games that is about building flooring, I believe, from different materials. I thought it was okay. Then we have Hunted Kobayashi Tower. Now, this is a game that I really thought I would like. It is essentially Die Hard, the board game. It's a solo game where you go through, and there's a lot of interesting ideas to it, and to the point where they made sequels and things. I just found it to be super lucky in the end. At the end of the day, it all came down to luck. All right, let's take a look at what else we have here. Did I never play this Cacina game? I thought I did. Walls of York and Rise to Power. So Cacina, this is, oh yes, never mind. I talked about Z with this last time. This was redone by Valespa. Walls of York is a game which is sort of like a roll and write, but has these walls, and you're walling in different areas on your board from each player. I thought it was a pretty fun game. Rise to Power, optimize your corporation. This is from 2 to 6 players. So different cards here that you're going to make yourself better as you go by. Rise to Power is an interesting game. It's almost there. It's just a little too long and a little too much going on in it, but I thought it was interesting. All right, let's move down here, see if we find something. Pool Party. Didn't I look at that one as Spaceship Unity Season 1.1? So Pool Party, this was also known as Splash Party. I guess I never did play this one. I have not, but I would like to. Then Spaceship Unity Season 1. So Spaceship Unity is a really, really weird game. In this game, you are fixing different sections on the ship as fast as you can. And that is done by, well, you see it here, using a vacuum cleaner. Or sorting out your silverware drawer. There's a little too much game, unfortunately, in there beyond that, but the silliness of the premise, whether it be you're grabbing stuff from around your house and then using it as speed to do it. Me and my kids had a lot of fun doing it. I wish the story wasn't so long and convoluted in it. Just make this a silly game, but it really does work well. Again, for a very small audience, of which I'm in. Monster Baby Rescue. This is one that does not deserve to be down so low. This is designed by Vladimir Suchy, who is known for, all sorts of terrific games. Underwater City is probably the most famous. This one, I think a lot of people don't play it because it looks like a kid's game. And indeed, I think kids could play it, but it is a drafting game where you have this little cute monster that you are leveling up and just drafting things to make them better. And it's pretty solid. I think this is a fantastic game. It's in the Dice Tower library. All right. Ooh, here's Broadsides and Boarding Parties. We can't not talk about this game. This is in the big Game Master series from Milton Bradley, and the one that was not many people talked about. We all talked about Axis and Allies and Fortress America and Samurai Swords. This one, with these two big ships, man, I was so sad that I did not have this. I wanted to play this as a kid. From what I understand, it's not a particularly great game, but there's a lot of nostalgia involved. Alrighty, moving down. I feel like I played Prowers Passage. Obviously, I played Ooga Booga. Prowers Passage. That was a game in which you... Oh, that doesn't look very interesting. Okay, no, I never did play this one. Ooga Booga. This is from Blue Orange Games, and you're making different sounds, and you have to make the noise point at someone else, and they make them in order. Yeah, that's kind of like a little kid's game. Akaha, he, me, kuka, kuka, ooga booga. And that's the game. So kids might like it. Alrighty, there's Clue 50th Anniversary Edition. Taverna and Lords of War, Orcs versus Dwarves. So Taverna, this game here is one of the first games I played from, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing this up with a different Tavern game. But this was an interesting game in which you're going to be giving what people want to them in a tavern, a dice placement game, I believe. And it was interesting, and I wanted there to be more to it. You got to do expectations and put it in one of the 5 taverns. Nope, this is a very different game than the one I'm thinking of. So I reviewed this 9 years ago. So I guess I liked it, but for some reason, I'm mixing up with a different tavern game. Lords of War, Orcs versus Dwarves. So this is a game where you play cards, and this is the kind of game that I've always wanted to play, where you play cards and then the different arrows pointing to different ways are going to have different things happen, and you're fighting, and you're putting out the cards that way, and I love that concept so much. Unfortunately, it just was overwhelming in this game, and it feels very lucky with all different arrows pointing at each other. This company pushed on for a couple years, but I haven't seen anything from them recently. I did not like the game. Kung Fu Panda, the board game. I was just thinking about this the other day because this is from Modifius Entertainment. Modifius makes a bunch of games that are based on intellectual properties. In fact, they're going to be announcing one soon. And this one's based on Kung Fu Panda, which I believe just had its 4th movie come out. Very, very popular movie. This is a cooperative, fun adventure game for kids. I like it a lot, and I'm kind of surprised it is so lowly rated here. Then we move to Hat Trick. This is a trick-taking game about, hey, go figure, hats. But there's 2 tricks at the same time. So one person leads off, another person can start a second trick. That's kind of the unique thing. And also, all the cards have baseball caps on them. Hot Rod Creeps. So Hot Rod Creeps was from Cryptozoic. This was back when Cryptozoic was trying to branch off and not just do, DC United. And this is just a silly, ridiculous Mad Magazine-style racing game. Unfortunately, it's just okay. Then we have 20th Century Limited. This is a game in which this was re-implemented, I guess, says by the Orient Express. I have not played the Orient Express, which is from Rio Grande Games, and looks kind of the same. But yeah, placing these all over the place, a kind of a railroad lane game. I just did not think much of this one. Then we got, now this one. So Flowerfall is a game in which you are dropping cards onto a table. And this looks like a prototype. Maybe it's a prototype. I thought the cards looked a little bit more involved in that. But you know what? I might be wrong. No, there we go. This is what the cards look like. So you would drop these cards on a table and you were trying to control areas of the grass with your flowers. I, for a couple years, scheduled a game of this at Board Game Geek Con where we dropped them from a second story. Just because, why not? So this is from Asmati Games. A fun little game. Incorporate it and make the difference. Both of these are interesting games, very different. Incorporate it looks really boring. Look at that cover. But Incorporate it is kind of like, think of Risk, but you're mega corporations instead of Risk. There's a lot of stuff going on in this. It's very asymmetrical. I thought it was pretty cool, despite how boring it looks. Make the Difference is an oink game in which you have these two drawings and you're going to make with a pen very small differences. And then someone else is going to look at them. They look at them through like a clear sheet so you can't necessarily see what the marks of the pen are. It's harder than you might think. It's a very good game for kids. All right, what else we got here? Coming down here, we have Barker's Row. Ice Team seems somewhat interesting. And Dark Seas. Well, let's start with Barker's Row. Barker's Row is, again, this is from Steve Aramini. And I think I might like this. I think some of the other guys' studios like this more than me. And it has a cool stand and it has a cool theme about trying to get all these different guys into your sideshow, but it was just missing enough for me to like it. Dark Seas was, I believe, a tabletop day giveaway. And so this was one in which you have all these different tiles and you have different dice. And it was okay. It definitely has the feel of a game they were giving out for free or they released out of the slide. This was not a big deal. Anthony Rubo, the designer, has done, I think his most popular game, yeah. He's done some other games like Risky Adventure and some other stuff. But yeah, this one, that's what I remember about it the most, that it came out on Tabletop Day. Thud. I remember when Thud was at Origins. Did I not see Thud at Origins? This was a game. No? Well, actually, it looks pretty cool. I must be thinking of a different game called Thud. Moving down here, Claim It. This one has been out for a while. This is from Watsapalag Games. I never played this exact one where you're just claiming different areas out there with dice and putting these things out there. Watsapalag is still they just had a booth at Gen Con. It still kind of blows my mind. I don't think they've had a new game in like 8 years, but they keep coming. Four Gods is an intriguing game. Four Gods is a game in which you are a real-time placing tiles down. So think of real-time competitive Carcassonne. It's an interesting style game, but there's not enough to keep me there. I don't want to play real-time Carcassonne all the time. Kind of cool box cover. And then here's the other part of this, Lords of War, Elves versus Lizardmen. More of these putting cards next to each other, and you can mix and match the factions. Then we got Ticket to Ride Ghost Train. Now this one should be higher. This is a kid's version of Ticket to Ride, and it has like this whole haunted house type theme to it, and really fun. It's a good game for younger kids to play Ticket to Ride. I very much recommend it. Down here we have Ark and Noah, and that looks like it. We'll look at the last game here, Bells. Ark and Noah is a game, I remember playing this with my kids way back in a time as we were trying to put the different animals on the ark. You're filling up the ark and then trying to control those different spots. Never really took off, and there's a few things that keep me from wanting to love it, but I thought the theme was fun. That's Ark and Noah. And then the last game here, which I know nothing about, Bells. Oh, I do remember seeing this at conventions because of all these bells, and you were using a magnet to pull bells out. I always wanted to play this one, but I never did. Well, there you go, folks. Of all the ones here, I think Incorporate It might be my favorite. Oh, no, Monster Baby Rescue. Monster Baby Rescue is my favorite from this mix. What is yours? Let me know in the comments. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.